So we're conducting our second facilities forum this year. We're really encouraged that we've got almost 100 people here, which is great. 100 football volunteers attending the event in December is an indication of just how important facilities are. These volunteers are here to get information, to learn how they can improve their facilities so that they can make the experience better for their participants. So that's why we put it on. We provide information, we want to support our volunteers, our clubs, and we want to demonstrate that we're a stakeholder focused organisation. Look, we greatly appreciate the commitment from local government authorities. They're huge sponsors of our game. 99.9% of the facilities we use and our clubs use throughout northern New South Wales are owned and maintained by local government authorities, so we really appreciate it. But there is no doubt that there's an acute need for investment in facilities. Some of the biggest challenges are drainage. It doesn't have to rain very much for football to be cancelled. Unfortunately, there's a lot of grounds that are situated in very low-lying land. Lighting's poor in a lot of places. It's just not good enough that 2 or 3 teams have to train under one light. And the other big issue as we get more and more females is that there's just not enough change rooms. Almost half of the facilities we use throughout New South Wales don't have change rooms, and that's not conducive to getting more females in the game.
So the Facilities Advocacy Unit is a joint venture between Northern New South Wales Football and Football New South Wales. The Facilities Advocacy Unit is based at Valentine Sports Park, and the unit actually covers the whole of New South Wales. The Facilities Advocacy Unit can actually work very well for clubs and zones by helping assist with facility development projects, whether that's from designs and providing feedback and guidance. The unit can also help with state, federal and also local council relationship building exercises, and also provide help and assistance with seeking funding opportunities and guidance within the funding sector.
When you're trying to pass a ball and the ball's jumping and bouncing, it's a nightmare. You don't improve, and the players get frustrated and the players stop playing because there's no enjoyment in it. It's the same as playing as an adult, playing as a professional player. If you've got a training facility that is great, you get the true bounce. It makes you feel good because you're making good passes, it builds that confidence. So important. We've built a relationship stronger with New Sport at the university because before our time there were a bit of antagonism between the both groups, and the coaches fighting the groundsmen, and the groundsman always wins. So we've built a great relationship with them, and these guys will do anything for us now. Line markings, and the facilities are great. Ernie Merrick cannot believe the facilities here. He forgets about the weather or Wellington, but he's came here and went, these training facilities are second to none, and it makes such a difference within the group that they're turning up for work every day in a great working environment. So for a professional sports person's headspace, they've no excuses, and as a coach, you don't want a player to have any excuses.
I think there's no doubt we've probably got the best facilities in football in Australia. That goes from the playing fields to the change room, recovery rooms, medical rooms. It's state of the art. I don't think there's anything that the players need in terms of any more facilities. They've got a no excuse environment in which to operate.
The top tips for preparing your field for the upcoming football season would be, first of all, have you fertilised the goal boxes and run around with a garden fork to try and aerate them the previous spring so that it's actually made some good cover over the summer period so that's ready for your winter sports season. So that would be my first tip. Secondly, can you get the club together and chop out all of the Parramatta grass that's in your field so you don't trip over it all this season? Drainage is important to a natural sports field, but it's not drainage as in you have to put slit drains in a field. It's whether or not you can stop water running onto the field so that when it rains, it actually makes it so you can play on it very soon afterwards. So stopping the water getting onto the field in the first place so it doesn't run on from a car park, that's the most important thing. Irrigation is also really important for a sporting field. If you have a chance to get an irrigation system in your sporting field, take it, it's fantastic. It allows you to wash in chemicals and that'll allow you to kill weeds and stuff like that and recover the turf so it's ready to play for the next winter sports season. My other really important tip is sometimes you get some money to reconstruct your field or put in some slit drainage systems. Sometimes these aren't required, or sometimes your field needs to be built to look after how much wear your field is getting. Make sure you don't get a field reconstructed or a drainage system put in without getting some advice. Otherwise you may end up with a field that drains beautifully but actually doesn't have a blade of grass left on it.
So the benefits of LED lighting is, number one would be the energy saving, right? The rule of thumb is generally 50% to 60% energy saving. So instantly off the board, they're saving a lot more money, and in turn, that saving, they can now run the lights longer or more often and get more clubs and more training events engaged in that field because they can afford to. The main thing about LED is it's not out of reach as people think. You know, the education of LED is not out in the community or the clubs yet. So as I said in there is the technology. People don't think that LEDs can do a sports field. The technology is not there, but it is, and then they think it's too expensive when it's not. The gap is definitely closing and closing because the maintenance and the ongoing costs far outweigh the initial install cost. So that is a huge benefit. It is now affordable for clubs, and now councils and the people who are running those fields can see the benefits long term when they look at the return on investment. So that's the number one benefit once it's getting better.
Doing some research, investigating the detail of what you need, developing a concept design, getting costings for that, identifying funding strategies, management models for managing that facility and how that will be operationally sustainable, and then getting the funding itself.
The Asian Cup Legacy Fund was brought about from the 2015 Asian Cup that was hosted here in Australia. Those funds have come down to community level now, and we're putting that money back into community sport. There's between $50,000 and $150,000 available for clubs. That money needs to be matched by whether that be local council, federal government, clubs money, whatever that matching funding may be. It needs to be matched from what you're applying. Clubs who are looking to do facility projects such as synthetic fields, grass returfing, drainage, irrigation, and things like that. We're looking for big money projects for facility upgrades. We want to improve the facilities in New South Wales. In terms of what constitutes a great submission, we're looking for evidence and reasoning behind your project. So why does your club actually need the project? So we need to give some stats and information. So that might be giving the assessor some information about your club's growth in the last couple of years. It might be due to population growth in your area, that's why your club needs additional facilities. You need to provide reasoning, whether that be looking at some strategic plans that your local council might have, state government plans. You need to be relating your project to those objectives in those strategic plans to give you the best opportunity to get that money from the Asian Cup Legacy Fund.
Club's connection with council has started with sort of minimal and sort of looking through the grounds and trying to work out the best way without a development plan how we were going to best work together to come up with a common goal, how we were going to improve the grounds and how we were going to improve participation and involvement in people using the grounds. So we've sort of become a bit of a spokesperson for the grounds to try and with the council, and the project's started small. We've had a few completed over the last year, but we're aiming for doubling that amount and trying to improve the grounds to hopefully be a good piece for Lochinvar.
The club works closely with schools, the council and our state member Jenny Atchison. We invite her out to some of our events and meet with her regularly and talk about goals and what we'd like to do. Yeah, she's fantastic and promotes local sport and grants and improving grounds and increasing sport participation.
Best thing to do is to get the state MP to come out to your club, have a look at your facility, have a bit of a chat about it, show them, what's good, what's not, what they might need some funding for. If you can't do that, get a couple of the directors and the manager to come into the MP's office and maybe show them some photos, talk about the club, and just start it like that. But the more you're in the face of the MP, the more they'll think of your club and create opportunity. There are lots of funding opportunities, particularly the state fund of $300,000 every year. Your state MP allocates that money, called a Community Building Partnership Grant. So small lots from $1,000 to $20,000 to $40,000 to even $60,000 every single year. There's also $50,000 in total of sports grants every year. For smaller grants generally, $1,000, $1,500, $5,000, but sometimes up to $20,000. So 2 great opportunities, $350,000 in total every year. Yeah, look, engage with your local council, your local councillors, your elected councillors, get them out to your club as well, get them to look around because there are local government opportunities and council funding, as well as state, as well as federal. Get your federal MP to your club, develop that relationship, and they have funding opportunities as well. And Pollies love media, so they'll help promote your club and at the same time also promote themselves. But it's a good relationship to try and get new membership, to get visibility in your club and get a lot of support for your club.